Now, what would you look for in the perfect Chancellor of the Exchequer? Someone who is to manage the money of the country, who we are to entrust billions, nay trillions of pounds that come from you and me and our ancestors and our relatives and our future children, because Lord knows how much debt we've got to service. You want someone who, A, is a brilliant economist, who really gets it, B, is extremely creative and knows how to change things, because we've been in the doldrums for quite a while now. And most importantly, when you're trusted with that much money, you need somebody with integrity as well as great intelligence. Well, don't worry, old Lego head herself, Rachel Reeves, to the rescue. That's right, the woman with the improbable fringe, a haircut that looks like it's been made by some sort of plastic toy shop in Taiwan, is at it again. Not only is she the most rubbish Chancellor we've ever had, seeming to make every single decision that's anti-business, whacking up national insurance, then goes, oh, the NHS, guess what? GP surgeries have to pay national insurance as well. You know, people in the medical profession, social care, they have to pay national insurance. Oh no, not only is she an absolute numbskull when it comes to that, but apparently she's got a very cavalier attitude when it comes to spending expenses. Now, before she was an MP, she, of course, was an economist. Halifax Bank of Scotland. Or wasn't. She just had some sort of headset and did something, Lord knows what it was. But she was apparently very good at spending the company's money on funding a lifestyle of dinners, events, taxis and gifts. That's right. She was taking money from HBOS to buy perfume, earrings, handbags, wine. And the weirdest part of all of it is a lot of this stuff she wasn't buying for herself, but buying for her bosses, robbing from the company to brown nose. I mean, the woman is an outright idiot. But what's worse is clearly there wasn't much due diligence done into the background that, she lied on her CV, we all know that. But if they'd scraped a little further, they'd have found out she was investigated by internal auditors at the request of the bank's risk department. And this is the woman who's moaning about there being a urinal in a bathroom, apparently, which dates back from, I don't know, some sort of like brilliant piece of memorabilia from Churchill's time or something. I took down a picture to replace it with a communist. And it's essentially just destroying the country, one decision after the next. And what's she doing there? I mean, she's going to have to go, isn't she? Let's be fair, she's going to have to go. Let's speak to Phillip Ullman, social business entrepreneur. He is, in fact, the chief energiser of Cordance Group, which is the UK's second largest recruitment and services firm, with revenues of 840 million, employing 125,000 people. Now, Phillip, if someone was nicking money from your company to buy you aftershave and bottles of whiskey, would you go, that's nice, they deserve a promotion? Or would you say, what on earth are you doing?
Look, I think this justifies her nickname, Rachel from Accounts. And I agree with you, by the way, Alex, she's got to go. There's no doubt about it. She has to go. But it's much deeper. The kind of focus on the CV and expenses is one thing, but she has no vision. She has no understanding of the really dire straits that people are in. She's not listening to the people. People can't afford to put food on the table. People can't afford to buy houses. But people have not got meaningful jobs. And she has not got any kind of idea of what to do. She, as indicated by these two stories, she just doesn't got a clue, and therefore people have lost trust in the government. And fundamentally, she has to start addressing those real issues, Alex, and that way we start to build confidence with the government. But these kind of stories are indicative of somebody who's actually totally out of their depth.
Oh, without a doubt. And, it's kind of like it goes from bad to worse all the time. I don't understand what the policy of this government is anyway. But when she increased employers' national insurance and banged on about, well, it's not a tax on working people, well, of course it is, because if the people who employ them are then having to pay more money, they're going to be paying to HMRC, they're going to be paying less money to their staff. They're going to be employing fewer people. They're going to give them fewer hours. I mean, you work in recruitment. How bad has your sector been impacted?
I actually moved out of recruitment, Alex. I'm now in other spaces. But no, it's fundamentally, it will increase unemployment, as you said, because when profits are reduced by increased costs of national insurance, you have to make savings, and what you do is, as you say, you reduce employees, and that's what we're finding. All the retailers, everyone's doing it, so it's going to increase unemployment, reduce what the other thing is, of course, is when the NI goes up, the next time you're going to give people an increase, you're not going to give them the same increase because, of course, the employer's national insurance costs have increased, so people are actually going to lose the increase in wages. So fundamentally, this is a complete absurdity.
Yeah, I mean, there's something called the Laffer curve out there. I actually met Laffer himself when I was over in America. I was like, that's pretty cool. I like your curve. But the Laffer curve essentially is a graph that shows that you tax and tax and tax and tax and tax, and you make more money and you put more money in the country's pockets that you can then spend. Then all of a sudden you tax so much that it starts going the other direction. Because people essentially find ways to evade the tax, they move out, businesses close down, and actually tearing that tax back. If you lower the cost, this is something that Laffer said at the presentation I was at in America. If you lower the cost of tax on the highest in society, the people who benefit the most are the people at the bottom. Believe it or not, the effect it has is creating more jobs, more employment, a greater share of the wealth. And yet, for some reason, these numbskull leftist communists in the government think the best way is just taxing anyone. Go after the farmers because they've got assets. They're not assets. That's their machinery and the land that they farm to feed us. That's not a pot of gold. That is the tools of the trade. I mean, what is wrong with these people?
And even more importantly, the key problem, as far as I can see, is the cost of living, Alex. Yeah, the cost of living is massively increased. They talk about 2%. We all know the last couple of years. What is it when you go shopping? It hasn't increased by 2%. It's near 20 to 25%. Yeah. People cannot afford to put food on the table. On top of that, what they do, they then increase interest rates, which means people can't pay the mortgages. This is the real issue that people, your listeners, are concerned about. They're not dealing with it. She's not addressing it. There's no understanding, and therefore she's going to go. She will go. She's
got to go. She's got to go. Now listen, Reeves' spokeswoman says she was not aware of an investigation, nor was she interviewed. She didn't face any disciplinary action on any of these matters. All expenses were submitted and signed off in the proper way. All right then, Rach, whatever you say. Thank you ever so much, Philip. It's been fantastic catching up with you. Going